Hey Truth Seekers, it's Nathanael here doing another strategy series video. Today's strategy series video, we're going to be talking about faith. The faith kind of Animo, we're going to talk about the faith Truth Seekers, and specifically we're going to be talking about the faith Animo that I consider to be win cons. So, to start with, the power of faith is the ability to recycle your cards, discard your power cards for higher powers, and being able to get those power cards back. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go over Ezra, May, and Silas. So Silas here, he has the ability during your scoring phase, you may convert any faith discard costs on a single Animo to faith cost. May says you may draw 2 cards for each faith power card that you discard from your hand. So the way that May works is because Truth Seeker is only once per turn. Once per turn, you can choose any number of faith power cards in your hand, discard them, then draw 2 cards for each faith power card that you discarded. Silas here says once per turn, you may return 1 faith power card from your discard pile to your hand. And so each one of them has their strength. If you want to focus on discarding power cards to gain a lot of points, you can use Silas here to get them back. So Silas's strength is that if you don't have it, a power card in your hand that turn, you may go ahead and just return 1 of your faith power cards from your discard pile to your hand. May just has that draw advantage, fueling your discard pile with faith power cards. So that way you can get cards that you need and you can draw extra cards. Ezra gives you the ability that basically once per turn, you'll be able to just ignore the discard cost or the discarding part of the faith cost. All right. So that's what each of the Truth Seekers does. Each one has their strength. And currently I'm actually looking at May being one of the strongest ones, but I like Ezra because Ezra gives me that advantage that once per turn I don't have to discard my power card. All right, moving on. We're going to start covering our Ultra Animo. So we have Armor and Ultra, Avalanche Ultra, Stagnetic Ultra, and Lumini Ultra. Okay. So these 4 Animo are Ultra Animo. You may only run up to 3 Ultras and Omegas in your deck at a time right now. But these are what we have to work with. Armorina Ultra has a really good combination with Stagnetic because Armorina Ultra's cost is to discard 3 faith power cards to activate him, and he has a 16 on him. 16 is the highest amount of virtue points we have on a single Animo right now. That's printed cost. Avalanche is a discard 2 for 11. And I think he's amazingly paired up with Ezra. Then we have Stagnetic Ultra, who is just pay 3 for 12. And you have Lumini Ultra, who is our second highest Ultra, which is a 4 for 15. I personally would probably honestly use these 2 in my decks because they can fuel your Stagnetic. And I like Avalanche because he's cheaper than all the other ones. All right. And now, so basically you can choose, I would run 2 Ultras in a deck at a time. And I would personally, if I'm using Stagnetic strategy, I would use the 2 Armorina Ultra. That's just me. I feel bad because I like Stagnetic and I really like Lumini. I just think Lumini's too expensive for what I'm trying to do with most of my decks. However, Avalanche I like because his cost is cheaper. So I think that these 2 are the best out of all of these. All right. Moving on to Stagnetic. All right. So Stagnetic is probably the best win condition in Faith right now. It has a cost of 3 for 10, which is high above the Jedi curve. All right. So the Jedi curve is something in card games where you have converted cost to the power that it provides. So it has a 10. 10 is really high. 3 for 10, but you're going to be discarding one of those. There's a lot going on with this card. I could really break it down if I wanted to, but the reason why he's so good is because he has the ability, if you have at least 3 Faith Power cards in your discard pile, this card has no activation cost. So if you're discarding your Faith Power cards, like with your Animo that you're activating, as long as you got 3 in there, you can activate this guy for free. We have a combination where we use Armorino Ultra and 3 Stagnetics in a single turn to get 47 points for 3 Faith Power cards that we discarded. It is probably one of the strongest combinations in the game that's easiest to pull off because you don't have to grow any of these Animo to do it. Alright, and so that's all I have to say about Stagnetic. So consider Stagnetic as part of your win con. He's really good. Alright. Alright, and then moving on, we have Quillo level 2. And if you're going to have Quillo level 2, you're going to have Quillo level 2 Quillo level 1. Quillo level 2 is really good because he only costs 1 to activate. So his ability is that you may place up to the top 4 cards of your deck, you may place up to 4 cards from your hand beneath this card, and effectively those cards are out of play. When this card's activated, this card earns 3 virtue points for each card beneath this one. And you discard those cards when this card is discarded. So essentially he can be a 1 for 12. Now, I did check on the ruling that there's the mechanic where you grow Animo by placing the card that you're growing into on top of it. So technically Quillo level 1 is beneath this card. However, as the rules state, this is all considered 1 card now because it is 1 Animo. Alright. So, Quillo level 2. I would recommend that if you're going to use this guy as your win con, run 3 fishing nets. Fishing net says that you may draw 2 cards. And if this is the last card in your hand, you may draw 4 instead. So that way you can just go ahead and get your Quillo level 2 out there. And also, it doesn't state when it's played that is the time that you can go ahead and place the cards underneath of it. It's just any time this card's just in your small group, you can do this. So if you draw into your fishing nets, you can go ahead and play your fishing net. You can put all the cards underneath of him other than your fishing nets, play your fishing nets, and place some more cards underneath of him. So that's pretty good, and that's how you can get him up to 12 consistently. Okay? Next win con we are going to cover is Flow. Alright, and if you're going to Flow level 2, you're going to have to have both Flow level 1s to grow into. So, Flow as a win con is based on the fellowship value. Okay, for something to be a win con, we typically like it to have a virtue point of 8 or more, and we'll make exceptions for some with fellowship bonuses. I also like to include cards that I'll have 7 or more in there as well for certain ones. All right, so we have Flow. Flow has the ability that says when this card is in your small group, any love Animo in play may not be targeted by the actions of Cinis. And it's a 1 for a fellowship bonus of 9. So this is really good for some very cheap, consistent value. This Flow has some synergy where it says that when this card is played from your hand into your small group, you place 1 love Animo from your discard pile to your hand. So that way you can go grab your Flow Ultra, which is primarily like the best card you can grab from your discard pile with. But you can also use it to grab love Animo like Heart of Arc, so that way you have an Animo that you can use fellowship bonuses with for your Flow level 2. And then this Flow has its own fellowship bonus as a 1 for 6. Alright? If you're going to use Flow in your deck, definitely run some love fellowship bonuses. You're going to be running some love strategies alongside your faith strategies. Okay. Moving on to Sparcube. The ice cube with the most. Alright, so we have Sparcube. Sparcube level 2 is a 1 for 7, which is actually okay value because it's a 1 that you discard for 7. But it is on a level 2, so we kind of expect more out of this card, which we do get with the 10 fellowship bonus. So if you have it with hope, you're going to run some hope strategies with this. So you're going to be drawing cards. You're going to be searching for cards to get the cards that you need. So that way you can go ahead and get that fellowship bonus for 10. Of course, if you're going to run a level 2, you got to run the level 1s. This Spark Cube is a 1 for 4 that you discard cost. And I personally would only run this because its Bible verse is a lot shorter than this Bible verse. This Bible verse, however, is like one of my favorite Bible verses. So, it's strong. But the reason why I would prefer this one over this one is because this one doesn't require you to discard. So if you have to activate without growing it, you can also get the fellowship bonus of a 1 for 5. And it also has more synergy with the level 2 because basically this is just a weaker level 1. So quite frankly, I do highly recommend that you try out the Spark Cube strategies. Try out, I would recommend probably with the Percy's because Percy has like a lot of search, which provides a lot more consistency with grabbing cards that you need. Next up we got is the Flaming Grow. All right, so Flaming Grow. Level 2 is a 2 for 10 with one of the discard costs. It has the ability that when this card is played to grow Flaming Grow level 1, you may select up to 3 cards from your discard pile and place them in any order of the bottom of your deck. So this card has like has this ability to just grab cards, place them 3 cards, place them on the bottom of your deck. And I would pair this with the Rich Fool. The Rich Fool is just a card that says draw the bottom 3 cards of your deck. So you're going to grow this one, place 3 cards from your discard pile on the bottom of your deck, and then you're going to go ahead and play the Rich Fool, and then draw those bottom 3 cards. So now basically you've just drawn the 3 cards that you've recycled. It's very strong. It's also a 2 for 10, which is great value. You are discarding one of those, but if like you're running Ezra allows you to ignore one of your Animo's discard costs per turn. Next one we're going to cover is Trusty from Red Letter Day. So, Trusty, level 2, is a 3 for 10, which is okay value. Actually, it's fair value for a level 2. And it has the ability that says, for each Trusty in your discard pile, you may remove 1 cost to activate this Animo. So, if you're going to run this card, you're going to run this with 3 Trusty level 1, 3 Trusty level 2. I personally like discarding my first 2 Trusties I see, so a Trusty level 1 and Trusty level 2, or I'll discard 1 Trusty level 2 and activate one of my level 1s. So that way, the next Trusty that I can grow into level 2, I'll be able to activate for 1, and my last one I'll be able to activate for free. There are situations where I just have 3 in there, and it is what it is, so I can just go ahead and activate one of my Trusties for free during that game. I would actually pair Trusty with cards that allow you to discard cards from your deck, like Lumini level 2. Currently, I think Lumini level 2 is the only one that does this. And I would also pair Trusty with anything that you really need to keep your costs low on, because Trusty naturally lowers his own cost for a lot of value. His Bible verse is also, I would also always run this Trusty over the original Trusty from Cross Trainers, because this Bible verse is much cheaper. So, moving on, we're going to move on to Avalanche. Alright, so Avalanche level 2. He is a 3 for 10. There's no discard cost here, which is pretty good. He's on par with the same value points that this one does, but this one reduces his cost. So, anyways, Avalanche has the action that says you may shuffle up to 5 of any combinations of Faith Power cards and or Faith Animo from your discard pile back into your deck. So in Cross Trainers, we had Pump Kindle, who would pair nicely with this, just to shuffle cards back into your deck. It's all right. I like Avalanche. I just wish he was cheaper, which Trusty does. And normally I don't care about shuffling cards back into my deck. But if I'm running a Hope deck or a Holy Spirit deck, Avalanche actually pairs very nicely, other than the fact that he has specified cost of 3. So you have to have 3 faith power cards in order to activate him. All right. And so we're going to go ahead and move on to... Anyways, just give him a try because he's pretty good. I definitely like him. Now, we're going to move on to Trusty Level 2 from Cross Trainers. All right. Trusty Level 2 from Cross Trainers has the action says you may exchange 1 card from your discard pile with 1 card in your hand. So you pay the 3, you're discarding a universal cost in order to discard a card from your hand, add a card from your discard pile to your hand. Now, you are doing that in reverse, which is relevant sometimes. This Trusty's Bioverse is really long, which is why I recommend the Red Letter Day one. I'd also recommend the Red Letter Day one over this one because his action doesn't really do a whole lot. But he is a 3 for 12, which is technically better cost-wise. But I personally do like the other Trusty better. Now I'm going to cover Armorino level 3. And if you're going to run Armory level 3, you got to run level 2 and level 1. So the nice thing about Armory level 3 is that most likely you're already running this if you're running Faith, because this is how you are able to, Armory levels and how you get your Faith power cards back, because it says as long as the card's in your small group, you may place 1 Faith power card from your discard pile back into your power pool. And this guy's a 2 for 9, which is really strong, but then you have Armory level 3, which is a 3 for 10, which isn't great value, but his ability is, as long as this card remains in play, your opponent's Cindy's actions and abilities have no effect. So basically, whatever your opponent's Cindy's doing, if it affects you, you get to ignore that. And it is a 3 with a discard cost, but it can become a 3 for 15, which is much fairer value for what we're trying to get him to do. All right, I run him with a Holy Spirit deck, and normally I just run this guy. I normally forget about these other 2 guys. I normally just run him in my Faith decks. But when I want to use him as a win con, I always pair him with Faith. And now with Hybrid level 3, definitely pair him up with that. Or Hybrid Ultra. It works out a lot better with the Fellowship bonuses. For our last Animo for our win con, we are going to cover Lumini level 3. So Lumini level 3 has the action that says you may select up to 3 standard power cards from your discard pile and place them directly into your power pool. He's a 3 for 13, guys, with an action that grabs you back your power cards that you've been discarding all game. It's really strong. Plus he becomes a 3 for 16 with that Hope Fellowship bonus. And then Lumini level 2 is a 2 for 8, which is great value, with the ability that when he's played to grow in a Lumini level 1, you may look at the top 5 cards of your deck, discard any number of them that you desire, and return them to the top of your deck in any order. So you discard, say, like your Trustees or your power cards, and then you get to go into Lumini level 3 and just get your power cards back. It's an awesome setup. And then to end our win con, I'm going to show you one more thing that has to do with the power of Faith, which are the equipment cards. So the Faith equipment cards are the Shield of Faith and Frankincense. Shield of Faith says the Faith emblem to which this card is attached is not affected by the abilities or actions of Cindy's. For as long as this card remains in play, your power cards are protected against the actions of your opponent's story cards and Cindy's. And then the last card is Frankincense. Frankincense converts all the discard costs into normal Faith costs. So it's kind of like having another Ezra in your deck. And with that, that covers the power of Faith. So in the meantime, Truth Seekers, keep learning virtues and defeating Cindy's.